the WrestleHavoc Podcast on YouTube, where we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. We talk all that goes on in the realm of WWE and AEW every week. And now, here's your host, the one that will give you a reality check on pro wrestling, Flamin' Ricky Duraeus. This is the WrestleHavoc Podcast.
What's up, everybody? It is Flamin' Ricky Duraeus right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast, here to review WWE's Backlash 2023 pay-per-view. Overall thoughts on this show. This show was fucking fantastic, and I mean that in the best way possible. You guys know me, coming into this show, I wasn't really that excited for this pay-per-view. Now, WWE, of course, coming into Puerto Rico for a pay-per-view for the first time since, I believe, 2005, definitely made this show a big deal. But from the fans' point of view, coming off the WWE draft, to be quite honest with you, this show, coming in, I wasn't really expecting a lot. But I will say, this show overall exceeded all of my expectations. It literally blew me the fuck away. This show was fantastic from top to bottom. Maybe the Brock and Cody match wasn't really the best. Probably, I don't want to say the weakest match of the whole card, but, everything else besides kind of Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar, nothing, everything else was just fucking fantastic. Every match felt like it mattered. And that is really the best takeaway that I can give you guys for this Backlash pay-per-view. And to top it all off, the crowd in San Juan, Puerto Rico just made this shit so much more better because the crowd was absolutely so passionate in what they were watching. It's very similar to the crowd in Cardiff for Clash at the Castle, very similar to the crowd in Montreal for the Elimination Chamber as well. This was something very similar, but man, the atmosphere in San Juan, Puerto Rico, from the top, from the opening match of this show, definitely delivered 110%. But that was my basically initial thoughts of Backlash. Of course, this review is actually a little bit late. The show happened on Saturday, and it's already a Wednesday. I've been really busy throughout this whole week focusing on the end of the semester because, in my opinion, that's like top priority right now. Literally, by the end of the semester, you just feel unmotivated, and literally you're just stressed out of your mind doing all this fucking work because you got to get shit done. Because it's the end of the semester, and I'm a college student, so I had to get all that stuff done, and it's still not the end of the semester yet, but it's about to be finished by the end of this week, so I'm still actually working on a lot of stuff. I originally wanted to do the Raw review as well and upload it right next to the SmackDown, to the Backlash review, but honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be doing a Raw review, to be quite honest with you. I'm still trying to think about it, but I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on Backlash, because Backlash was such a big deal this past Saturday. It was a big show, and nonetheless, I had a blast watching the show. It was a really fun show, but hey, man, at least I got the review down right for you guys. I don't know if I'm going to be uploading again this week. Most likely I will. I'm in a much better place than I was a week before because last week, after I uploaded the Raw review, I was just busy like 24/7 with all the schoolwork and shit, so I had to get all that done. But hopefully, we're going to be back to business. So definitely we're going to get this thing rolling right as soon as this Backlash review is over. But before I get on with all this craziness, make sure to like and subscribe to the WrestleHavoc Podcast right here on YouTube, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the frickin' referee would say, ring that damn bell for more notifications. Also, the WrestleHavoc Podcast is also available on audio platforms. It is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and Google Podcasts. So if you guys want to listen to the WrestleHavoc Podcast in audio format, it is available on all of those platforms. Nothing really, to be quite honest with you, this show, again, from top to bottom, just blew away all expectations, in my opinion. WWE the night before was out there for SmackDown as well. It was a pretty good show overall. But this show felt mad different, man. You know, if you compare the SmackDown and the Backlash show, both shows are very similar, of course, when it comes to the atmosphere. But, man, something about this show, man, like just Jesus Christ, man. That Bad Bunny and Damian Priest match was literally the highlight of that whole show. But we're going to be talking about Backlash. And the first match that we're going to be talking about is Bianca Belair defending the Raw Women's Championship against Io Sky of Damage Control. Now, coming off of the WWE draft, we had Bianca Belair being drafted to SmackDown. Meanwhile, we had Rhea Ripley, who is the current SmackDown Women's Champion, being drafted to Raw. Yes, very much a lot of confusion considering the fact that they have belts that are opposite on the brand that they are associated with. That really made no sense. And honestly, I wasn't really excited going into this match, to be quite honest with you. But overall, this match, nonetheless, was fantastic. Definitely, there were moments in this match where, I know a lot of people felt this way, but there were moments in this match in which I felt like WWE really should have called an audible, because the crowd in Puerto Rico were 100% pro Io Sky and, you know, negative, like just they were not in favor of Bianca Belair, man. They were Io Sky through and through. And this crowd from the opening get-go was hot as a motherfucker. This crowd was like just super hot. They are rooting for Io. But let's go through the match. Io is on the top. She pulls the hair braid of Bianca Belair. We get a double stomp on the arm of Bianca, and Bianca fights back and escapes. We get a kick by Io Sky, but then Io goes for the takedown on Bianca. Bianca then slams her down to the mat, and then we get a right hand by Io Sky. Bianca then tries to hold on, but then Io drives the injured arm of Bianca down. Io then rolls through Bianca, but then drives her knee first onto the injured arm. Io then tries to drive her knees onto the turnbuckle, but then Bianca fights back with a back elbow. After that, Bianca hoists her up, but then Io rolls through. Io then goes for the double stomp, and then we get a cover by Io and a near fall. Io and Bianca both exchange shots, and then Bianca goes for repeated elbows, but then Bianca tries to hold on to Io and tries to go for the Hurricane Rana, but then Bianca manages to hit the backbreaker. After that, Bianca then sells her left arm. Bianca then goes for repeated clotheslines, and then we get a dropkick by Bianca, but then Bianca picks her up. Then she manages to hit a vertical suplex on Io Sky. After that, Bianca picks her up, but then Bianca then drives Io into the corner. Then, at this point, Bianca is on the second rope. She hits repeated right hands on Io with the crowd counting in Spanish, and this is a common occurrence throughout this entirety of this whole show, considering the fact that, of course, the crowd is in Puerto Rico. And not only that, every time when a wrestler goes for the cover, instead of counting the 1, 2, 3 in English, they count the 1, 2, 3 in Spanish. I believe it was the same thing back in 2005 at New Year's Revolution. Io then tries to fight back. Bianca comes back. Then Bianca picks up Io. Then when Bianca picks up Io, Bianca was basically selling her injured arm, and she manages to hold Io one-handed, and she slams her down face first to the mat. Then we get the cartwheel moonsault by Bianca Belair. We then get a cover and a near fall. Bianca then picks up Io, but then Io escapes. Then Bianca goes for the snapmare, but then Bianca runs into the corner with her bad arm. Io then fights back with repeated right hands, but then Io goes up and drives Bianca's arm to the rope. After that, Io is on the apron. Then we get a springboard shotgun dropkick by Io. Bianca then goes to the outside, but then Io goes to the top, but then Bianca pushes Io to the outside. Bianca then goes to the top and hits a 450 splash. But then Io gets the knees up, and then Io applies the crossface. Bianca then gets up on her feet, but then Bianca goes for the powerbomb attempt. Io then counters, driving Bianca face first. After that, we get a cover by Io Shirai and a near fall. Io then drives her knees on Bianca into the corner once again. She tries to go for the Tiger Driver, but then Bianca picks her up, but then Io counters back. She misses the stomp, but then Bianca picks her up for the KOD, but then Io counters and sends Bianca to the outside. Bianca then drags Io to the outside, but then Bianca goes for the handstand attempt, but then Io hits a kick. After that, Io goes to the top, and then she hits a beautiful moonsault on Bianca. After that, she sends Bianca back into the ring. We get a cover by Io and a near fall. Io then gets Bianca up, but then Bianca fights back, leading to Io to go to the outside. Io then comes back, and then she tries to go for the Hurricane Rana, but then Bianca holds on, and she manages to hit the powerbomb off the top. After that, we get a cover and another kick out. So they're really making Io Shirai look really strong. And then what happens, Bayley and Dakota Kai come out. Io pulls the braid of Bianca. After that, Bianca goes for a right, but then Bianca picks her up. Dakota comes in and gets taken out, but then we get a roll-up by Io and a near fall. Bayley then comes in and then gets sent to the outside. Io then drives her down to the rope, but then Dakota goes for the cheap shot, but then Io goes to the top. She misses the moonsault, and what happens is actually Bayley was actually on the outside, and Michael Cole on commentary was mentioning that, if Bayley didn't really make the distraction, Io would have had this match. Io goes to the top and hits the moonsault, but then what happens is that Bianca manages to pick her up, and she hits the KOD, and we get a cover, and Bianca Belair wins the match and retains the Raw Women's Championship. Overall thoughts on this match. This was a very, very, very good match to kick off the show. Again, I wasn't really all excited about this match, but knowing the nature of the talent of Io Sky and Bianca Belair, you knew for a fact that this match was going to be a certified banger. And indeed it was, and it was a very good match to open up the pay-per-view. Now, a lot of people were saying that this match should have ended in Io winning the title and them calling an audible. I will have to agree with that. I mean, there were times in this match where I literally thought that basically Io was actually going to get the win. And if Io won, it kind of would have made sense considering the fact that Bianca Belair is now a part of SmackDown and Io is competing for the Raw Women's Championship. So it makes total sense. But at the same time, you open up another can of worms considering the fact that I believe Damage Control as well have been drafted to SmackDown. So the thing about the WWE is every year, and this is always the case with the draft, is that every time when they draft their specific wrestlers, they always put themselves into a booking corner, and it never ends up being good because then they don't know what to do for the future. And that is exactly what they did with this scenario because, again, Bianca Belair has been drafted to SmackDown, and Io has been drafted to SmackDown along with the entirety of Damage Control as well, and Bianca is the Raw Women's Champion. So I don't know what they're going to be doing with Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley per se, but nonetheless, this was a very, 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 very good match, and they're definitely going to be telling a greater story when it comes to Io Sky and Bayley. At this point, even though we know that Damage Control has been drafted to SmackDown, I think it's pretty much safe to say, and I've been saying this for weeks now, man, Damage Control is a failed experiment. I don't give a shit what anybody says. Damage Control is a failed experiment. It just didn't work. Io Sky just needs to be on her own. I feel like Bayley needs to be on her own. Where does that lead to Dakota Kai? I have no idea. But again, man, Io really needs to be on her own. Bayley, I feel like, needs to be on her own. This Damage Control stuff just isn't working. And I'm literally going to put it on par with, the Outcast in AEW, man. That shit's going nowhere as well. Bad Bunny backstage with Rey Mysterio. Bad Bunny is ready, and Rey Mysterio says he has a friend that he wants to say hello. Savio Vega comes out to a huge fucking pop in Puerto Rico, and he gives him the kendo stick with the Puerto Rican flag. Of course, it's literally hyping up the match that Bad Bunny is going to have with Damian Priest later on this show. And Jesus Christ, man, that match, again, man, blew... I mean, I don't even want to say it blew away all expectations, because you knew coming in, because we all know the nature of the talent that Bad Bunny is. I saw him wrestle live in his first match at WrestleMania 37 2 years ago. He was fucking amazing. Like, literally. I even came on this show and said, I marched the fuck out when he hit that Canadian Destroyer on John Morrison on the outside of the ring. That's how good Bad Bunny is. But I'll talk about that later on as we head to the Bad Bunny match. But in our next match, we got Seth Rollins taking on Omos. Now, again, when this match was first announced, everybody, including myself, was like, what the fuck was the point of this match? And rightfully so. This match being booked made absolutely no sense whatsoever. The reason why I say that is because of the fact that before this match was even announced, Seth Rollins and Omos had zero, and I mean zero, interaction whatsoever. And honestly, I couldn't even blame you if you honestly thought that Vince McMahon was definitely a part of, the booking, the booking of this match, because clearly Seth Rollins versus Omos, that is clearly a Vince McMahon match. There's no fucking way that Triple H would have booked that match. I'm being brutally honest with you guys. But what about the match itself? The match itself was relatively short, but it was not a bad match whatsoever. Seth Rollins, let's be honest, made Omos look good. He really did make Omos look good, and hats off to them. But do I see them doing anything big with Omos? Honestly, no. But I mean, I'm just not really that invested in Omos, to be quite honest with you. But I will say this match was not bad whatsoever. So the match starts. Omos takes Rollins out. Basically, what happens is Rollins is just, you know how Rollins is every time when he's in the ring and the crowd just sings his song. The crowd, when they were singing his song, holy shit, they were singing his song loud. Rollins is just soaking it all in about the crowd just singing his song, but then Omos immediately takes out Rollins from behind. And then the bell rings and the match actually finally starts. Omos goes for a furious shoulder tackle on Seth Rollins. Omos then sends Rollins into the corner, but then Rollins is on the outside and he is in control. And then he goes to the top but then falls back on Omos, regaining the advantage. After that, Omos mocks Seth Rollins. And then he dumps Rollins to the outside, but then on the outside, Omos picks up Rollins, but then Rollins escapes and sends Omos to the ring post. Rollins then goes for the suicide dive. At this point, Omos is still on his feet, but then he goes for the second suicide dive. After that, Omos goes for the choke slam on Rollins on the apron. Jesus Christ, I forgot that my phone was literally via Bluetooth connected on my mixer. Jesus Christ. Then, once again, Omos picks him up again. Then we get the bench press. After that, he throws him back into the ring over the top rope. Omos then comes back into the ring, but then Omos picks up Rollins. And then he drives Rollins to the turnbuckle. And then Omos follows up with a big boot. After that, Omos picks up Rollins once again, but then Rollins manages to apply a sleeper hold. After that, Rollins hits the enziguri into the corner. Rollins then hits the springboard knee on Omos, but then Rollins with a couple of kicks onto the knees of Omos. We then get a dropkick on the knee of Omos, taking him down. After that, Rollins goes for the super kick, and then Rollins sets up the pedigree attempt, but then Omos counters with a backdrop. After that, Rollins is on the apron, but then he drives Omos face first onto the ring post. Rollins then goes to the top, and then he hits the tornado DDT. Rollins goes to the top, and then he hits the frog splash, and then we get a cover and a 1 count. Then we get a right hand by Rollins, but then Rollins continues to go for repeated right hands. We then get a rolling elbow by Rollins, but then Rollins goes to the top, and then he drives his elbow onto the back of the head of Omos. Rollins then goes for the stomp, but then Omos stops it. After that, Omos goes for the choke slam, and then we get a cover and a kick out. Omos then picks up Rollins, but then Rollins counters with a sleeper hold attempt once again. Rollins then, off the second rope, applies a sleeper again on Omos, and then Omos is down on one knee, but then Omos goes for the side slam on Rollins. At this point, MVP interferes, and then Rollins goes for the stomp on Omos, and then he hits a super kick on MVP, and then he hits the stomp on Omos, but then we get a cover and a near fall. Rollins goes to the top, and then he hits the stomp off of the goddamn top rope, and we get a cover, and Seth Rollins beats Omos, and he wins the match. Overall thoughts on this match. This match, again, even though I wasn't excited about this match, and going in, you clearly knew who booked this match. I mean, Seth Rollins definitely made Omos look good. Now, going forward, we clearly know where Seth Rollins is going to be headed now. We all know the direction that Seth Rollins is going to be headed, because right after WrestleMania, before the world title was even revealed, there was zero, and even before the draft, there was zero, and I mean zero direction regarding Seth Rollins. And now that Seth Rollins is going to be staying on Raw, and now they have the World Heavyweight Championship, we clearly know who is going to be winning that World Heavyweight Championship tournament. And it's definitely going to be Seth Rollins, because you really think about this, man. Seth Rollins needs to be given something to do. And the fact that him holding the World Heavyweight title, yes, it may seem like a consolation prize, and it definitely is. Rollins holding that title could definitely legitimize the prestige of that whole championship. We're just going to wait and see what WWE does with the booking of Seth Rollins if he wins the World Heavyweight Championship. And by that, I mean most likely win the World Heavyweight Championship. But Seth Rollins gets the win over Omos. We then get Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley versus Bronson Reed for the United States Championship. Again, another match that, when it was first announced, kind of made no sense, considering the fact that Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed were feuding together on Raw, and you have Austin Theory, who was feuding with Bobby Lashley before, but Bobby Lashley wasn't really focused on Austin Theory, and then you had Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed just literally fight it out, and then when they announced this match, they literally added Austin Theory in this whole mix, so that kind of made no sense. But overall thoughts on this match, of course, this is the three-way match for the United States Championship. This match was very good as well. I definitely enjoyed this match for what it was. Again, a relatively short match, but nonetheless, everybody looked good in this match. We get the shoulder tackle by Lashley on Austin Theory, but then Lashley goes after Bronson Reed. He drives Theory into the corner, but then we get a clothesline by Lashley on Reed when he holds on to Theory. After that, Lashley tries to apply the hurt lock, but then Theory comes back. He goes for repeated rights on Lashley by Theory, and then Theory takes out Lashley, but then Lashley picks up Theory with a delayed vertical suplex. After that, Theory sweeps Lashley down, but then Reed hits the splash out of nowhere. Reed then goes for the splash on Lashley, but then Reed and Bronson, or I should say Austin Theory and Bronson Reed, gang up on Bobby Lashley. After that, we get a double team by Theory and Bronson. After that, Theory takes Lashley into the corner, and then Theory goes for the clothesline on Lashley. And then he turns around, and then Bronson Reed immediately takes out Austin Theory, but then Lashley comes back. He drives Bronson down to the mat, and then Theory comes with a one-armed slam. After that, Lashley goes for the spear on Theory, and then we get a cover and a near fall when Bronson Reed drags Lashley to the outside. Then we get a super kick by Reed on Lashley onto the outside, but then Reed hits a splash from the middle rope on Lashley. After that, Reed takes Lashley back into the ring, and then Reed comes to the top, and then Theory moves to the ropes, which leads to Bronson Reed to fall down. After that, Theory picks up Lashley, but then Lashley escapes. He applies the hurt lock, but then Theory almost passes out. After that, Theory uses the ropes to go for the roll through, but then we get a near fall. But then after the near fall, out of fucking nowhere, you had Bronson Reed immediately go for the tsunami. Fucking Corey Graves just marks out on commentary. And then we get a cover into near fall, and then Theory is up on his feet, and then we get a back elbow by Theory, but then Theory goes for the blockbuster on Bronson Reed. After that, Reed goes down, but then we get the power slam by Reed on Austin Theory. And then Reed goes to the top, and then he misses the moonsault. Lashley then hits the spear, and then Theory dumps Lashley onto the outside, and then we get a cover by Theory and steals the win and retains the United States Championship. Overall thoughts on this match, again, even though the booking of this match when it was first announced made no sense, this match was still relatively good. Theory stealing the victory is good heel heat, of course, for any heel in the business, in my opinion. And Theory retaining is definitely the right decision to make. I think Theory moving to SmackDown made total sense as well, considering the fact that Gunther, along with Imperium, who is currently, that being Gunther, who is currently the Intercontinental Champion, moving to Raw, makes sense that Theory goes to SmackDown. Now, what is Austin Theory going to be doing on SmackDown? We have absolutely no idea. Now, we do know that he is going to be in one of the triple threat matches for the World Heavyweight Championship tournament. Do I see him going into the finals at Night of Champions? Absolutely not. I don't think Austin Theory is ready for that yet. But nonetheless, Theory retains, and he's going to do a lot of good things, hopefully, with the United States Championship. We then get Rhea Ripley versus Zelina Vega for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Overall thoughts on this particular match. Again, when it was first announced, this was kind of a random match that was kind of randomly announced. And you could say that this match technically does not make any sense. But if you really think about it, it kind of does make sense, considering the fact that the factions that both of these women are associated with are feuding with each other. Of course, Rhea Ripley is a part of Judgment Day, and Zelina Vega is a part of the LWO. But overall, this was a very, very, very emotional match, of course, especially with Zelina Vega, who is in her hometown, who is in her home of Puerto Rico. I was about to say hometown. She's in her home of Puerto Rico, and she got a standing ovation before the match and even after the match. You know, even when she lost, the crowd still supported Zelina Vega, and that is something that I really absolutely loved about this whole thing. Was this a amazing match? No, it kind of ended off a little bit randomly. But nonetheless, it was really based off the moment that Zelina Vega got in Puerto Rico. And nonetheless, that was nothing but a great moment overall for her. So we get a standing ovation for Zelina Vega. The crowd is just all over Zelina Vega. We get a bunch of ole, ole, ole chants. Rhea then drives her into the corner, and then Zelina's on the outside. Zelina then gets, what happens is, I believe her parents were in the front row, and she goes to the outside and she grabs la chancla. Now, for you Hispanics out there, now I'm Ecuadorian, but I'm also Portuguese, so I'm mixed. But I'm Hispanic myself. I know what it means when, your mom holds the chancla, bro. That shit ain't no joke. That shit ain't no joke. She grabs the chancla and she throws it literally straight at Rhea. Like, she dead ass, pointed directly at Rhea. And that's like the nature of the chancla right there. But nonetheless, back to the match. We got a drop. She throws it to Rhea, and then we got a drop kick by Zelina. She then takes Rhea to the inside of the ring, but then off the second rope, Zelina goes for the head scissors. After that, Rhea hits the powerbomb, and then we get a cover and a near fall. Rhea is in control, and then she sends Zelina into the corner, and then Rhea mocks basically Eddie Guerrero / the LWO. After that, Rhea hammer throws Zelina into the corner. After that, she sends Zelina across the other corner once again, and then Rhea hoists Zelina up, and then she hits the backbreaker on Zelina. And then Rhea picks her up, Zelina escapes, and then Zelina gets sent into the corner once again. And then Rhea Ripley runs towards Zelina Vega, but then Zelina ducks, and Rhea runs into the corner post, shoulder first. After that, Zelina goes for repeated right hands, and then we get a right hand by Zelina, but then Zelina gets thrown into the corner. After she gets thrown into the corner, Zelina fights back with repeated right hands once again. Zelina goes for the clothesline, and then after that, Rhea is up on her feet, and then Rhea counters Zelina with a headbutt. After that, Rhea tries to hit the Riptide, but then Zelina hits the DDT. After that, Zelina takes Rhea Ripley into the middle rope and goes for the 619. After that, she goes to the top. She hits the Meteora, and then we get a cover engineer fall. Zelina goes for a couple of right hands once again, and then she runs into a kick by Rhea Ripley, but then Rhea picks her up, and then she hits the Riptide, and we get a cover, and Rhea Ripley retains the SmackDown Women's Championship. And a pretty random, I don't want to say a pretty random ending, but it wasn't really a random ending, but it kind of ended very quickly for Zelina Vega. Now, going into this match, even though they were going to give, they gave Zelina Vega the feel-good moment, of course, in Puerto Rico. Of course, it wouldn't make any sense for Zelina Vega to win the SmackDown Women's Championship because of the fact that Rhea Ripley just won that title. She literally just won that title a month ago at WrestleMania from Charlotte Flair. So it would make no sense for Rhea Ripley to drop that belt to Zelina Vega. Not only that, if Zelina Vega had the title, what would be the direction for Zelina Vega? The answer is there'd be no direction whatsoever. Rhea Ripley retaining was definitely the right decision to make. But that doesn't take anything away from Zelina Vega because Zelina Vega still looked strong in this match. And it showed after the match where the crowd in Puerto Rico gave her once again a standing ovation. Great moment right there for Zelina Vega. Definitely enjoyed that as well. Now, in our next match of the evening, we have Damian Priest from the Judgment Day taking on Bad Bunny. Now, Bad Bunny was basically, marketed throughout the entirety of the show. He is basically the main character of this whole show, Backlash. And we all knew Bad Bunny was going to get physical. Now, we all originally thought, I personally thought it was going to be roughly a tag team match that Bad Bunny was going to be involved in at. But no, Bad Bunny was going to be involved in a singles match. And of course, it was going to be against his former partner, his former friend, Damian Priest. These two guys teamed together 2 years ago at WrestleMania against The Miz and John Morrison. And again, I was there on night one of WrestleMania 37. Holy fucking shit, man. That Canadian Destroyer spot. Bad Bunny blew away all expectations. He is in the realm of a Logan Paul, man. These celebrities that come in, there are some celebrities that don't work, but there are other celebrities that absolutely do the work and absolutely are 100% worth it. And Bad Bunny is 100% worth it. This man is fucking fantastic. Now, again, this match was the epitome of the match of the night. This match was literally the match of the night. And it's not even close if you compare it to all the other matches. Now, all the other matches were great, but it's nothing compared to this match, man. The moments in this fucking match were insane, especially near the end, man. As I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I believe it was either on the Raw review or the SmackDown review. I believe it was one of the Raw reviews. Gang warfare, faction warfare, I fucking love. And the LWO, man, I don't know about you guys, but besides the Bloodline, the Bloodline is great, but I felt like they kind of cooled off a little bit. Not to say that they're still not hot, because I think they are, but the whole Bloodline storyline kind of like took, I don't want to say a detour, because they're definitely building to something big, but the LWO, man, is literally my favorite thing in WWE right now. They are the my favorite faction right now in the WWE. Jesus Christ, man, just everything about the LWO just screams cool to me. It just does. And honestly, man, the brawl that the LWO and, just Judgment Day had near the end of this match, honestly, man, I want more of it. I really do want more of it. But let's get on with the match, shall we? Bad Bunny comes out, and one of his songs play. It wasn't Booker T. Now, I'm not the biggest Bad Bunny listener, but I know Bad Bunny got more songs than Booker T. Like WWE, like the only song that they play from Bad Bunny is Booker T, which is fucking ridiculous. But Bad Bunny comes out, and it was one of his songs, and the crowd was literally singing along. They were singing along during his entrance. Bad Bunny's, and forget about the match. The match was fucking amazing. The entrance alone made this shit a big deal. It really did. Like, Bad Bunny coming in regardless is a big deal. But fuck, the entrance alone was fucking amazing. That shit was badass as hell. I enjoyed everything about that. He brings out a shopping cart full of weapons, so he's pulling a New Jack over here. And the match starts. So the match starts. Priest goes for a right hand on Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny gets up, and then Priest takes him into the corner. He toys with Bad Bunny, and then Bunny goes for a slap on his face. And what happens is Bunny immediately goes for a fucking Michinoku driver. We all knew he can do a Canadian Destroyer, but this man literally hit a Michinoku driver on Damian Priest. Holy shit. Priest runs to the outside, or Bad Bunny, I should say, runs to the outside, and he grabs 2 kendo sticks. Then Priest goes to the outside, and then Bunny goes into the ring, and then Priest drives Bunny into the corner. Priest then splits the kendo stick in half, and then we get a bunch of right hand exchanges by both. Priest goes for a slam on Bad Bunny. After that, Priest is in control, but then Bunny goes for the thumb to the eye. After that, we get a knee by Priest, and then Bunny goes for repeated right hands. Priest then picks him up. Bunny then manages to go for the roll-up, and we get a near fall. After that, Priest fights back with a right elbow, knocking Bunny down. Priest then goes for a bad back elbow by Bunny, or I should say on Bunny. And then Priest goes for the South of Heaven chokeslam, and then we get a cover by Priest. But instead of going full-fledged with the cover, Priest picks up Bunny because he ain't done yet. Priest then takes out the axe handle. After that, he comes into the ring, and then Priest drops it. After that, Priest goes for a springboard, but then Bad Bunny throws a chair, Sabu style, on Damian Priest. Bunny then hits him repeatedly with the kendo stick, and then Priest runs into a kick. Then Bad Bunny goes for the tornado DDT, but then he clotheslines Priest to the outside. Bunny goes to the top, and then he hits the crossbody. After that, Bunny hits Priest repeatedly with a bunch of trash can lids. After that, he hits the double whammy with the lids onto the head of shit on Priest with both of the trash can lids. After that, Bunny goes for he grabs the kendo stick, and then he hits Priest once again with that kendo stick. And then Priest holds on. He drops down Bad Bunny, but then Bunny gets back up, and then he takes out Priest into the corner. And then he picks up Priest, and then literally, Bad Bunny hits the Michinoku driver once again. After that, we get a cover and a near fall. Priest is on the outside. After that, Priest is literally on the outside, and he sees blood is literally dripping down. Priest gets pissed off, but it looks like he's going to go back into the ring and beat the shit out of Bad Bunny. But no, that was actually not the case. What happens is Priest ends up walking away. So he ends up walking away, and then Bad Bunny comes back. He grabs the trash can lid, but then runs into a boot by Priest. After that, Priest hits Bunny with the trash can lid, and then he hits him with the trash can lid once again, and then hits Bunny with the kendo stick, and that Savio Vega gave Bunny earlier tonight. After that, he sends Bunny to the timekeeper's area, and then we get a right hand by Bunny, but then Bunny fights back, and then the fight breaks out in the crowd. At this point, we get a kick by Priest, and then he picks up Bunny, but then places him onto the one of the production boxes. After that, he hits a right hand on Priest. And then Priest goes for a right hand of his own. And then Priest hits the Broken Arrow on Bunny through the platform in the crowd, which was fucking insane. Then we had Adam Pearce and everybody else, all the, security and everybody else come in. And then Priest picks up Bunny and walks him back to the ringside area. After that, we get a kick to the chest of Bunny, but then Priest misses the spinning heel kick and lands onto the ring post. Bunny then comes back with the kendo stick after that. He hits Priest in the injured leg, but then Bunny runs into, basically he runs into Priest, but then Bunny holds on. He drives down the knee of Priest, and at this point, Bad Bunny is just targeting that injured knee of Priest. Priest is just selling his knee like a motherfucker. Then Bunny drives his knee onto the ring post. Bunny goes for the right hand, and then he drives it again, and then he grabs the chain and hits his leg with the chain. And then he wraps the chain on his foot, and then he drives him onto the post again. After that, Bunny has the chair, and then he hits the knee on of Priest with the chair. After that, once you're back in the ring, Bunny has the chair, and then Priest, being the heel that he is, begs Bad Bunny not to do it, and he apologizes to Bad Bunny. And then Priest goes for a kick on Bunny, basically tricking him. After that, Priest goes for the chair, and then Bunny holds him and hits the low blow. After that, what happens is Judgment Day come out, and then Dominic and Balor come out. They all gang up on Bad Bunny, considering the fact that this is a street fight, so there is no disqualification whatsoever. After that, Rey Mysterio comes out for the save, and then what the fuck happens, man? You would expect the rest of the LWO to come out, and they did come out. But before the entirety of the LWO comes out, who the fuck comes out? Carlito. I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool. That fucking Carlito, the guy that literally grabs the fucking apple, chews it, and spits in your goddamn face. That man came out to a big ass pop. The pop that Carlito got. I was fucking shocked. Now, the last WWE appearance that Carlito made was 2 years ago at the Royal Rumble, and I believe he did come back the Raw after the Royal Rumble 2 years ago. But Jesus Christ, the fact that Carlito is back, and basically a member of the LWO, fucking sign me the fuck up, man. Carlito is in tip-top shape. And the fact that Carlito, of all people, Carlito came out to Puerto Rico, the crowd just went ballistic for that shit. So he takes out Judgment Day. We get the head scissors by Rey. And then we get the backstabber by Carlito. But then Dominic goes for a shot to the back. And then Rey comes back and then he hits the 619. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I did say that Judgment Day didn't come out. They did come. Oh, wait, no. Never mind. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just so excited right now. So Rey, basically Dominic goes for a shot to the back. Rey comes back and he hits the 619. Then what happens is Carlito has the apple and spits Dominic in the face. Balor and Dominic retreat. Savio Vega comes out with the LWO shirt. And then the LWO comes out and just brawls with Judgment Day. Balor turns around. Savio goes for those chops on Balor. And then we get a kick on Balor and then on Dominic. Then the LWO chase down the Judgment Day. Priest misses a kick when his leg gives out. Bunny goes for the figure four on Priest, but then Priest's shoulders are down. We get a near fall. Priest then grabs Bunny. He tries to go for the South of Heaven, but then Bad Bunny counters it with the roll-up, but we get a near fall. At this point, Bad Bunny gains the advantage, and then he plants him down with the sliced bread. We get a cover and a near fall. And then he hits Priest repeatedly with the chair. And then this man pulled the Petey Williams and hits the fucking Canadian Destroyer. We get a cover. Bad Bunny beats Damian Priest in what I thought was the match of the fucking night. This was the match of the night, period. Now, if you were to come to me and say that this is the match of the year, that could be a stretch. It really could be a stretch, definitely. But I can't really get mad at you if you honestly say that. Do I think it's the match of the year? No. But if you say that, I wouldn't get mad at you at all because this match was so fucking perfect. This match was off the fucking charts. I loved every bit of this match. Everything about this was, a lot. Again, I talked about this before I even went through the match, man. When people talk about celebrities in wrestling, a lot of celebrities just kind of come in and not really give a shit, man. Bad Bunny is a fan himself, And he clearly gives a shit what he's doing here, man. And you can tell, man, Bad Bunny just loves what the fuck he was doing in that ring. He absolutely loved what he was doing. And honestly, man, you know, this match that he had with Damian Priest was by far his best match. Because I believe it was the tag team match he had at WrestleMania. And then he made an appearance last year at the Royal Rumble where he basically got squashed by Brock Lesnar. And then all of a sudden he had this match. So this is definitely Bad Bunny's best moment, in my opinion. But nonetheless, man, this match was basically just pure perfection. Everything about this goddamn match just was fucking amazing. It really was. I was on the edge of my seat. I had a blast watching this. The crowd just made it so much more better. They like this match, you know, I feel like this match couldn't have happened anywhere else. Because if it had happened anywhere else, it would have been great. But the fact that the Puerto Rican crowd was here to witness this match, man, it just made it that much more better, man. And honestly, Bad Bunny, man, if you're going to have Bad Bunny wrestle, man, I ain't going to get mad anymore. I'm not going to get mad at all, man. Because if you're going to have Bad Bunny wrestle, fucking sign me the fuck up. Because Bad Bunny, man, he's amazing in the ring. But nonetheless, this match was amazing. This was probably the best match of the entire show. And hats off to Bad Bunny, hats off to Damian Priest, hats off to Carlito, the LWO, Savio Vega, Judgment Day, everybody that was involved. This match was pure perfection, and I absolutely loved it. In our next match of the evening, we got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle taking on the Bloodline, that being the Usos and Solo Sikoa. So what to say about this match? This match was definitely tough to follow up on, considering how good the Bad Bunny and Damian Priest match was. And rightfully so. This match was definitely going to be tough to follow. Or I should say, the Bad Bunny match was going to be tough to follow, because that match was just so good. Now, I will say this, though. The match itself was fantastic. I enjoyed the match for what it was. It was a great match. Could I say it could have been better? Yeah, but again, knowing the nature of the situation, if you're going to follow up that Bad Bunny match, it's going to be a tough follow. But they worked their asses off with everything that they had, and they definitely made it work. And hats off to all of them. Now, the big story that, of course, they are telling during this match is, what is Solo Sikoa going to be doing? Because Solo Sikoa on SmackDown says he's going to be doing his part, and the Usos better do theirs. They're obviously leading to something big. And I've talked about this constantly on the SmackDown review. They're going to basically kick out Jey Uso. A lot of people are saying it's going to be both of the Usos. I think it's just going to be Jey, in my opinion. I honestly think it's just going to be Jey. But they definitely tease something on this match, man. But let's get through with the match. Both lock up. We get a side headlock by Jey on Sami. After that, we get a shoulder tackle by Jey. Both lock up once again. We get a side headlock by Jey, but then Sami gains the advantage. Jimmy tags in. Kevin Owens makes the tag, but then Kevin Owens and Jimmy fight it out. Then he does the suck it gesture on Solo Sikoa. Jimmy then goes for a right hand, and then we get a back elbow by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens goes for the senton, but then Matt Riddle tags in. He works on Jimmy Uso, and then we get a kick by Matt Riddle, and then we get an overhead gut wrench suplex by Riddle. After that, Sami tags in. He works on Jimmy Uso. After that, Sami goes to the top, but then he drives an elbow on Jimmy. Jimmy then falls to the outside, but then after that, Solo tags himself in. One of the first of many times where Solo tags himself in. Both lock up. Solo's in control over Sami Zayn. We get repeated headbutts by Solo Sikoa. Then we get a back elbow by Solo on Sami Zayn. And then he tags in Jimmy, but then Jimmy continues to work on Sami into the corner. Jimmy comes in, and then at this point, Jey is the legal man. And then we get a bunch of right hand exchanges. Jimmy tags in, and then we get a kick to the back of Sami, but then Jimmy is in control over Sami. Solo once again tags himself in. After that, he drags Sami away from Kevin Owens and Matt Riddle. And then we get a boot to the face of Sami by Jimmy Uso. Jimmy tags in, and then we get a double team by Jimmy and Solo Sikoa. We then get a cover engineer fall. Jimmy applies a chin lock, and then we get a super kick by Riddle. Then we get a springboard leapfrog by Sami Zayn, and then he clotheslines Jimmy Uso. After that, Jey tags in, but then he gets sent to the outside, but then Jey drops down Kevin Owens from the apron and drives him to the steel steps. After that, Sami tries to fight back, but then Jey Uso goes for the Samoan drop. After that, Solo is the legal man, but then we get the headbutt by Solo Sikoa. Solo then continues to work on Sami Zayn, but then he takes Sami to the top, and then we get a right hand by Sami Zayn, but then he boots Solo Sikoa. Sami then goes for the Tornado DDT. At this point, the hot tag is made. Riddle goes after both Usos, and then we get a knee by Riddle on Jey. Then we get a right hand on Jey and Jimmy in each corner. We get an exploder on Jimmy, and then we get an exploder on Jey. After that, Riddle's on the apron. He hits a kick, and then he goes for the floating bro. Riddle runs into a super kick by Jimmy, but then we get a cover and a near fall. At this point, Jimmy is on the top, but then Riddle comes back. He throws Jimmy across the ring off the top, and then Kevin Owens tags in. KO's on the top. He hits the Swanton Bomb, and then we get a cover by KO and a near fall. Then we get a kick by KO, but then Jimmy tries to go for the super kick. Kevin Owens then counters in a super kick of his own, but then Jey tags in, and then he accidentally super kicks Jimmy. And then what happens is Jimmy tags in. I believe it was Jimmy that tagged in, and he accidentally super kicked Jey. And then Jimmy gets hit with the super kick of his own. And then after that, then he hits a super kick on Solo, and then he hits the pump-up powerbomb on Jey Uso. After that, we get a cover and a near fall. Kevin Owens then goes to the top, but then Jey goes for the Swanton, but then he gets the knees up. After that, Jey and Kevin Owens exchange shots. Both continue to fight it out, but then he hits the stunner, countered by Jey, into a super kick. After that, we get a super kick by Kevin Owens. Then a super kick by Jey. Kevin Owens goes for the lariat. Everybody at this point is down. Once again, another hot tag is made. Sami immediately goes for the Blue Thunder Bomb. After that, we get a cover and a near fall. Sami goes to the top, but then we get an enziguri by Jimmy, and then we get another kick by Jimmy, but then Jey tags in. Both Usos come to the top, but then Sami fights off both Usos. We then get a headbutt by Sami, but then Sami off the top falls into a double super kick. After that, we get a cover and a near fall, and then Jey screams at Sami saying it's his fault, and then he slaps Sami around. After that, he throws the shirt at Sami. At this point, Jey's in the corner, but then Solo again tags himself in. And what happens is Jey is on the apron, and once again, the roles are reversed, and Jey tags himself in. So he tags himself in. Sami immediately hits the haluva kick on Solo. So after that, he hits the haluva kick on Solo. We get an exploder on Jey into the corner, and then we get a haluva kick to Jey. We get a cover by Sami, and Solo interferes by making the save. He looks at Jey Uso, and it looks like, there's some tension over there. And it looks like Solo's about to hit him with the Samoan spike. But what happens is Riddle hits the knee. Jimmy chases him to the outside. Kevin Owens goes for the stunner, and then we get a kick by Solo. Samoan spike by Solo, but then Jey comes in, and he almost hits Jey with the Samoan spike. Jey gets pissed off at Solo Sikoa. He gets pissed. Solo comes in. We get a roll-up by Jey into near fall. We get a super kick on Sami, but then Jey goes to the top. But then we get the Uso splash, but then gets the knees up. After that, we get a roll-up by Sami. Riddle then tags in, and then he fights off Jey, but then we get the super kick by Jey, and then we get a running knee by Riddle. Then Solo goes for the blind tag, and then after that, we get the Bro Derek by Riddle on Jey. But then immediately out of nowhere, Solo goes for the Samoan spike, and we get a cover, and the Bloodline get the win. Overall thoughts on this match. This match, again, after the Bad Bunny match, it was going to be a tough follow. It was definitely going to be a tough match to follow because of the fact that, again, the Bad Bunny match was just so good. But I will say, the amount of storytelling that they had in this match was everything that it needed to be. The tension is brewing, as Michael Cole would say on commentary, between Solo Sikoa and Jey Uso. They're definitely teasing something much bigger. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens this coming Friday on SmackDown, considering that Roman Reigns is advertised for this show. So we're going to have to wait and see what they do. But I'm definitely interested to see what they're going to be doing, man, because, again, man, there's a bigger story to be told. I've always stated this every week. Jey Uso is the greater story that needs to be told, because if you guys do not remember, when Roman first turned heel back in 2020, his first major feud was against Jey Uso, and that led to the whole Bloodline forming. So we're going to have to wait and see what they do, but nonetheless, This match was very, very, very good. In our main event of the evening, we have Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Overall thoughts on this match. It was an all right match. Let's be honest. After all of the matches that we saw, I don't want to say this was the weakest match, but like the finish was just, I don't know, man. It was kind of random. Brock did get some color in this match, but nonetheless, it was a fine match. But at that point, I was just kind of like, whatever. This feud, in my opinion, I'm not really having it. I'm not really invested in Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes, to be quite honest with you. But they're going full-fledged with this feud, and the feud is going to be continuing because I believe they didn't officially announce a match, but they definitely teased a match the next night on Raw, or I should say the next 2 nights on Raw, that they're going to be having a match at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. But let's go through the match. Cody immediately goes after Brock Lesnar. He hits Brock with the top onto the announce table. At this point, the match hasn't even started yet. Cody gets the steel steps and then hits Brock repeatedly. He hits Brock with the chair on Lesnar. At this point, the bell rings. Cody goes after Brock into the corner. Brock drives Cody into the corner. Cody goes for the disaster kick, and then he goes for the second disaster kick on Cody. Cody gets caught by Brock with the German suplex. Cody then hands Brock to the top rope, and then we get a bunch of kicks by Cody. Cody goes to the top, and then he goes for the crossbody, getting caught by Brock Lesnar. And then he hits the fall-away slam. Brock goes for the release German suplex. At this point, Brock is going for a second suplex, then a third German suplex. Suplex City by Brock. He kicks to the ribs of Cody. After that, Brock goes for another release German. We get a kick by Brock, and then we get a suplex by Brock. Brock goes for a second suplex. Cody unintentionally exposes the turnbuckle pad. Brock goes for the suplex, but then Lesnar takes Cody with the bear hug. After that, we get repeated rights by Cody. And then Brock hits another suplex. At this point, he hits the 8th suplex after that. Brock is laughing. Brock continues to be in control, but then Cody ducks Brock. And then he drives Lesnar to the exposed turnbuckle. And at this point, Brock Lesnar is busted wide open. Cody cutter by Cody. Then he goes for the disaster kick, and then he goes for repeated rights. We get a knee by Cody, but then we get the Cody cutter by Cody, but then Cody manages to hit the crossroads. He goes for the second crossroads, and after that he goes for the cover and a near fall. Cody gets Brock, but then Brock picks up Cody. He hits the F5. Brock goes for the cover, and we get a near fall. After that, Cody goes for repeated rights, but then Brock catches Cody into the Kimura lock. But then Cody manages to roll up Brock, and Brock has his shoulders down to the mat, and we get a cover, and Cody gets the win, or I should say steals the win over Brock Lesnar. And that was your main event for Backlash. This match was fine. Again, I was not really that, invested in what I was watching, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I like the fact that Brock got color in this match, but again, nothing really special about this match. We still don't even know a valid reason as to why Brock Lesnar basically attacked Cody Rhodes on the Raw after WrestleMania. That shit made no goddamn sense. But overall, I mean, this was not a bad match whatsoever, but again, it was very tough to follow the last 2 matches that basically happened. And honestly, I'm not really interested as, they're going to be having another match at Night of Champions. So, yeah, Cody steals the win against Brock Lesnar. But, yeah, that was my Backlash review, my Backlash 2003 review to be exact. Overall thoughts on this show, man. This show was fucking fantastic. I absolutely loved this show for what it was, man. The crowd in Puerto Rico was just off the charts. If there's any other time where WWE wants to go back to Puerto Rico, I mean, Backlash is a good pay-per-view to do it. I would definitely suggest them to do it next year, man. The Puerto Rican crowd is just off the charts. I absolutely loved it. The match that we saw, man, from the opening bell, the crowd is just on their feet. And every match on this card definitely mattered. But again, man, this was probably one of the best pay-per-views of the year so far, to be quite honest with you. And I'm definitely interested to see what they're going to be doing in the future as we head towards Night of Champions and we head towards the crowning of the new World Heavyweight Champion. But yeah, that was my Backlash 2023 review. Please like, subscribe, comment down below, push that bell for notifications, and be on the lookout for more videos right here on the WrestleHavoc Podcast, in which we discuss everything in and outside of the squared circle. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. And as the freaking referee would say, ring, ring, ring that damn bell for more notifications. And as always, it is Flamin' Ricky DeRays, signing out. See you guys later.